So I think a few weeks ago I did a video on the story and the not just the story but the ideas for the game design that I came up with for a possible Final Fantasy X3 done in virtual reality so that the player can be the new protagonist of the saga. So guess what? I am very imaginative person, so I continue coming up with these ideas for stories. And the next one that I came up with is pretty simple. It's much more simple than than an RPG story. It is one for Astro Bot Rescue Mission 2, which I will call Astro Bot 2 Liberation Mission. So what I'm gonna do is share all these ideas with you. Pretty sure this is not going to be made the way I would like it to be made, so I'm just going to share my ideas. The reason why I come up so easily with these ideas, even though I wasn't planning to, is that I'm also working on on a series, writing a series, a science fiction series, which is pretty creative and thought-provoking. So I still come up with other ideas on the side, and so far I wasn't sharing any of them, but I think that it is a good idea to share them. So the other day, a few weeks ago, I shared the part of the story that I had in mind for a possible and well done sequel to the Final Fantasy X saga, which will be, if it was done as I imagined, it will be as good as the first game, basically, maybe better, because if it is in PSVR with virtual reality stuff and you are the protagonist, it looks and feels even better. So not surprisingly, I played, I know it was 2 months ago maybe, I played through Astro Bot, and obviously I like the game, it's pretty good. Now after I finished it, I came up with an idea of how to do a second part based on what I have seen so far. So I'm going to share that with you, not just the story, which is simple but good, but also some design ideas that I will use because they're already there. So let's suppose that you already played through the first game and you know how it ends. So I'm not going to spoil that, but I'm going to assume that you already know that. So the second game, if you also played the Playroom VR, which is pretty good, and it's a free game, multiplayer VR game, you're going to see that they already have many different models or looks for these little robots that look like they could do different things, but you didn't get that in the original Astro Bot game. In the original Astro Bot game, you only have like two moves. Like, a robot can attack with one or two different attacks and that's it. He can jump, that kind of thing, that's it. Swim. So throughout the game, I thought, why didn't they add, like new moves, more things that the robot can do? Why didn't they add like some kind of armor that he can put on or some new ability that he can gain besides the usual ones like the punch that he gets from the beginning, that kind of thing. I also realized that they didn't use in the Astro Bot game a lot of these different, because they are different, they're not the same, looks of these little robots that they have in the Playroom VR. So if they already have all those different models and looks already done for this little robot, why didn't they use it in the Astro Bot game? Maybe because they can use it in a second game. So then how will I do this second game? If you play the Playroom VR and Astro Bot, you realize at some points that there is this Astro Face looking planet, basically, and in the background, on the background. But they never go there. So what would I do for a second game? Which, by the way, if they use the idea, okay, whatever. English is my second language, so I still make this stutter mistakes sometimes. So if they use this idea of taking the robot to this home planet, and when they get there, which is what I call Astro Bot 2 Liberation Mission, that's my idea basically. When they get there, they find out that the planet has been taken over by, another similar robot as the protagonist one, but this one's bad. They can use all those ideas, because then when they go there, all the robots from the ship can get not lost, so they don't have to be rescued, but they get captured by this new, police robot force, bad force that is leaving their planet. So this time you don't have to rescue them, you have to liberate them. So that's why we call them liberation mission instead of rescue mission. And there are a lot of ideas for levels. You can put, instead of putting the different words like they did in the first game, they can put different areas, like within the Astro Bot world. And they can use any area that they want. So it's kind of like the first game that they use different ideas for the levels. Here they can do the same and do completely different stuff for each level. And they can use a team for each world. So who can be the bosses then? The bosses can be other, Astro looking robots like the Ninja Bots. If you see the Ninja Bot team in PSN, I think it's free. I don't know because I haven't, I downloaded it a very long time ago. Even before I got the game. I think it was free back then. The Ninja Bots team, you can use those guys. If you want to make them, I don't know, maybe the guys that give you the power-ups or something like that. So basically, yes, the boss in each world can be like one of these Astro Bots, which is bad. And when you defeat them, you can get sort of like a module for them that you can equip, like an armor piece for the little robot. And then you gain their abilities. So let's say you're fighting in the first world the Ninja Bot. So you get the Ninja Bot's abilities, by installing his armor piece, something like that. After you finish the first world, maybe in the second one you fight, another kind of these little robots that has a different ability, something like that. They can also use mini bosses, and for the mini bosses, guess what I will do? In the Playroom VR, they already have a lot of ideas, a ton of ideas for characters. They can use those models, so they don't even have to come up with how it looks. For kind of like other animals that can be used as bosses in the game. Like for example, in the Playroom VR, the dinosaur. The dinosaur could be a boss like in a second Astro Bot game. Maybe not one of the main ones, but sort of like a mid-boss, something like that. The cat. In the Playroom VR, if you go to this place where you sort of like spend your coins, something like that, like an arcade, you spend coins and you buy things with those coins. Well, there's a cat there in that room that you can win. But the cat doesn't look like a good guy. The cat looks like it could be a really good boss for like an Astro Bot 2 game, but like a mid-boss. Not final, not the end of the world boss, but like something in the middle. Something else that I would definitely do is, if you play the first game, you saw that there's this giant robot. There's like, I think there are like 1 or 2 levels that are based on him. And the giant robot is a good guy that helps you throughout the level. So I will use something like that in the second one, but for a boss battle. Like a robot like that one, but make it bad, not good. And then I will use that one as well. And then for the final one, you can use sort of like what they did with the with the final battle in the first game, but they can use something even just as clever, basically. Make the final one in the second one one that is not the alien, but one that is like the floating robot that the player is supposed to be like a floating robot that you don't see, but you see everything through that perspective. When you have the headset on. So I would do the same thing, but I would do it with one that is in this case not the alien from the first game, but an actual robot that looks like the one you control. But this one I will make it like dark, like that, something like that. And then the one that he uses versus you is like your little robot. So In the first game, there's some idea related to that at the end with the final boss, but it is not exactly one that is just like you, and with all your abilities and all the models and all those things that you gain from defeating the other bosses. This final one should have it in addition to other new ones that you haven't seen yet. So, and that's it. That's it. You already got the full game of that. Because you don't really need these are like Mario games. You don't really need a complex story for this. You just need like a really good idea, like a location for the setting of the levels and that kind of thing. New abilities. You know, the first game was already really good. But abilities, you didn't have that many. You know, you could jump and swing and do like 2 types of punches. That's it for the whole game, and it was still very fun. So imagine if the little robot, after defeating each boss, kind of like Mega Man, could like gain new abilities, like install like some module, some armor that will give them new moves, that kind of thing. And obviously, you can make it so that these new moves will help with some of the later bosses, will make it easier. So if you want to make them challenging, don't use those moves and just use the initial ones. So you could actually make it even more fun like that. Like the players that want more challenge, don't equip the armor pieces that give you new abilities. Stay with the base state. And the ones that, you know, want not easier, but want a game that is not that hard, you know, equip all these armors and pieces that give you new abilities, and then obviously you're gonna have an easier time. And I think it could be, you know, if it is done by the original team, Japan Studio, I think is the name, right? They did a wonderful job with the first game. So they obviously have what it takes to take this idea and to design new levels in that, you know, Astro World kind of setting in that planet. And you know, they already have the tools. They just need a, you know, great idea for a second story that doesn't have to be too complex, because that's not what this game is about. This game is about the fun gameplay, and that's it basically. So those are all the ideas I have for the second one. This was like an afterthought. Like I'm more focused on you know, writing my science fiction series and other stuff. There are a bunch of stories I can write, not only that one. There are a bunch of them. So you know, so these ideas that I get for other game stories and that kind of thing, they're separate stuff. They're extras. But I'm gonna share them anyways, because I think some of them can be pretty good, especially the one for Final Fantasy X3, which I think is better than this one, to be honest. But I think the Astro Bot players are going to like this idea for a second game, because I always like the idea of, if you do a sequel, if you do a part 2 of anything entertainment, make it better than the first one. And I know this is very challenging for the Astro Bot game, but it is doable. It is doable. You know, you got these ideas. I would gladly, you know, let them use it. You know, even if they don't pay me anything for this or anything. You know, I just like to see good creative stuff. Imaginative, okay, thought-provoking stuff done well. You know, done in an entertaining and engaging manner. I really love that. So that's it for my Astro Bot 2 story and ideas. And if I get any others for any other game, I will share them. And I will also share, you know, when I finish, you know, specific parts like season 1, that kind of thing, for my own stories, I will share it here as well. I'm not gonna spoil the story for those. You're gonna have to read them, but I will give the link. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it here for the Astro Bot 2 story.